We are honoring fertility and fertility months with Monica Cox. She's also a fertility coach, holistic fertility coach. We're going to talk about mindset and how to get and stay pregnant. If you want to see more interviews, please subscribe to my channel, Ponto Calhoun Transition channel, and stay with us till the end. I'm so honored to have you here, Monica.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So let's talk about good stuff. How to get and stay pregnant. But before that, can you tell me more about yourself? What is your journey? Because usually when we go to be a holistic functional fertility coach, definitely we have our own journey, right?
Yeah, I've got a big fat encyclopedia of a journey, but I'll give you the cliff notes. I was 27 and perfectly fit and healthy according to the doctors, and I just couldn't get pregnant. So 3 years down the line, we decided to try IVF, and it was a complete shambles. We walked away. The doctors told us that I had low egg quality. It was my fault, and there was nothing I can do to improve the situation. Just try IVF again. For whatever reason, that didn't sit well with me. We left that clinic, and I just went on a quest to find anything that I possibly could. And at that time, it was really hard. I mean, yes, the internet was invented, but Instagram wasn't around. Facebook wasn't really used for fertility, or there was no health coaches out there that were really talking about fertility in a holistic way, but more so for me in an autoimmune way, because that was my issue. I ended up discovering that I had a silent autoimmune issue, which was just cascading a lot of inflammation throughout my body, causing low egg quality, and for my own body to attack the embryos. So that's why I was never getting pregnant, even with the assistance of IVF. Um, so yeah, I just fought my way through kind of the BS of everything, and I improved my diet, which I didn't think I needed to do, but I had a lot of improvements to make. And we did a second round of IVF. We got great embryos, but I still couldn't get pregnant because of that missing link of the autoimmune issue. So we did some autoimmune testing, confirms I had high natural killer cells, and eventually became an IVF mom with using immune suppressing drugs. But because I was already on this holistic path, I was already neck deep in functional medicine. I really empowered myself to heal my body, and I ended up getting pregnant naturally with our second son.
For your first one, you didn't have any problem, right?
No, my first one was IVF. My first
Oh,
son
IVF,
was,
yeah.
yeah, IVF. I had 3 pregnancies through frozen embryo transfers. Two ended in miscarriage, and one with our first son.
Wow.
So I always struggled. I never had it easy. But because I truly believe it was my pregnancy with my first son, I was very strict with my diet and my lifestyle, obviously being pregnant, and really not having the guidance that I needed. So I was very scared that I was going to miscarry if I had one helping of nightshades, because at that time I knew I was intolerant to them. So my body just had time to heal. And because my gut healed, because of all the stress that was released of trying to get pregnant, and obviously I was working on mental and emotional things anyways, my body just was allowed to heal, and then eventually allowed to do what it naturally was created to do.
So how long after your first one you get pregnant with the second one naturally?
Yeah, so um, it's a funny story, because so I gave birth and we had 2 embryos left on ice, and we always knew we were going back for them. I didn't know I could get pregnant naturally. It wasn't even really in my thought process. And I breastfed for a really long time, so I had to wait to get my cycles back. And then my husband ended up going on a world tour with his work that he was with, and he went to countries that were dealing with the Zika virus at the time. So we knew we were going to use medical treatment. So when he came back, we used protection. We didn't try naturally because we knew we couldn't go back for the embryos, because the clinics were like, we're not going to treat anyone who has been around the Zika virus. So I actually went back, did a frozen embryo transfer, and had a miscarriage from that. And 2 months after that, I was pregnant naturally. So
Wow.
my first son was about a year and a half.
Oh, year and a half difference, right? Yeah.
Well, they're 2.5 years almost
Oh,
difference,
I
because I
see.
got pregnant when my
I
son
got it.
was
I
a year
got
and a
it.
half. Yeah.
Amazing,
So
amazing.
so pretty quickly, and I probably would have got pregnant a lot sooner. I probably would have got pregnant if he was when he was 10 or 11 months old, if we started trying naturally. But just the way the circumstances played out, and I'm kind of glad. I'm happy for that, because I never wanted to wonder about those embryos on ice, right? I know where all my babies are, and I think that's like kind of a comfort. Like, even though it didn't end in a happy ever after, I never have to wonder, well, what if? What if, we would have been back, and we had two on ice. I was supposed to be pregnant with twins. But yeah, I wasn't in the end. I was supposed to be pregnant with my second son.
That's great. So, now you had this journey. What do you recommend to people who are struggling? Because the other day we talked together, remember, about the mindset, and you say, yeah, some people think that they are infertile. So
Hmm.
they because they had lots of miscarriages, so and they had a lot of failure in their cycle, especially IVF cycle. They don't want to get back, and they just had this mindset. That's it. I'm not gonna get pregnant, and they don't try anymore. So, what do you want to say to them?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is that everyone has their end game, right? And you have to honor that. So it's never like just keep trying, it will happen. Like, sometimes you just need to walk away for your mental sanity. So I really want to get that point across. But yeah, I think society has really deemed us infertile if you're not able to get pregnant naturally on your own within a year. And the fact of the matter is, the only people that are really infertile are women without wombs or eggs, and men without sperm. So those are the only people that can truly use the word infertile. The rest of us are dealing with fertility issues, right? And
I like that. Yes.
yeah, yeah. And we just really get caught up on that. And there is enough scientific evidence and enough very smart, educated people out there telling you that it all starts in your mind. You tell yourself you're infertile, you're going to prove yourself right. And this
Mhm.
comes down to not like positive thinking or, just wish and it will happen. But, if you keep saying, I can't, I'm not a good cook, I can't do this. Well, you're not going to put the effort into at least trying to become a good cook, or maybe you don't become a good cook, but at least you can make meals that are healthy for yourself. They're not going to be, like a French chef or anything, but that's not what you have to be to get pregnant, right? You just need to readjust your diet and figure out the things you can make and that you can do. So that's kind of the first step. And it was the first step I took before I got really neck deep in all the holistic stuff,
Mindset.
was just change up the word you use. So instead of
Exactly.
saying if I get pregnant, it was when I get pregnant. And it's just those little things that make a difference to your subconscious mind. That's like, oh, okay, when we get pregnant, right? Well, let's like start taking actions and keep up with the diet, with the lifestyle, because the fact of the matter is, it doesn't work overnight. And a lot of people get frustrated, like, well, I've been eating really clean, I've done my supplementation, and I'm not pregnant within 2 to 3 months. And it's like, well, your fertility issues didn't start the moment you tried starting to conceive. They literally probably started a decade, if not 2 decades before, and you just didn't realize it. You might have a lot of normal, common health issues, but until you start trying to conceive, you don't know you have fertility issues, unless you're dealing with maybe PCOS, endometriosis, or you have kind of a known issue linked to fertility. But those, once again, are symptoms of inflammation and can be dramatically reduced.
Yes, it's not impossible to get pregnant, but even if you have block fallopian tubes,
Mm-hmm.
still there are a lot of ways with IVF you can get pregnant. But even if you want to go to IVF, you need a lot of preparation, as you said. So, so we're gonna get back to those 3 points you mentioned. So first of all, is mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the second one?
Um, I forget what I wrote. um, well, okay, so yeah, it's really important to have a mindset going into this, right? Reframe your journey, get like a focal point of where you want to go. Then it is the physical stuff, right? Like you do need to tap in. I say that we are physical beings living on a physical earth. So even though we're energetic, we're spiritual, we're still having this experience on earth and we still have to play earth games. So you can't sit on your couch and eat a pretty low quality diet and just be thinking all these happy thoughts, right? Like, I'm going to get pregnant. Like it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So you really have to focus in on your diet, and there's no perfect fertility diet. You have to find your personal food intolerances.
I like that. Yes.
Yeah. So, and that's where a lot of people go wrong. They think they're eating a clean diet. They might do paleo, they might do whole food, they might even go vegan or vegetarian. And those diets just aren't the right diet for them. I mean, that was my experience. I was eating a very clean paleo diet and I was hammering tomatoes, paprika, aubergines, peppers, all these amazing healthy foods. But the fact of the matter is, they weren't healthy for me. I had this underlying physical issue, and those foods were causing inflammation. So, really focusing in on that diet. And if you're still having physical issues when you're eating this clean diet, and even just little ones, like little niggly ones, that's when you just need to go deeper and just play around. Sometimes I say you have to go to the edge of insanity to find where your line is, and then you get to come back. So I don't eat a very strict paleo or autoimmune diet. I only stay away from the foods that I'm intolerant to. So I'm not intolerant to eggs, so I eat eggs. I'm not intolerant to nuts, I eat nuts. Which, those are two top foods that the autoimmune paleo diet would take away. So when you find your edge, you get to come back. And with diet, it's not just eliminating things, it's also bringing in that variety and a wide variety of it. Stop eating the same thing over and over again. You really need diversity and, really just getting outside of your bubble. And that's so powerful. Like, most people can see a dramatic increase, lowering their inflammation and their oxidative stress and improving their cellular health just through diet alone. I think it's easier sometimes because it's that tangible thing, and you don't, your mindset, your thoughts, you're like, late at night, there's nothing you can do about them but sit with them, right? Where diet's like out of sight, out of mind. But they do play into each other. And I do think when you're struggling with diet or maybe alcohol or even weed nowadays, I know a lot of people think weed is like natural and it's fine, but still, if you overuse anything, there's a chemical effect that happens in the body, especially for men. You just have to keep telling yourself over and over and over again, I don't drink. I don't enjoy alcohol. I don't enjoy gluten anymore. Bread is not serving my highest purpose right now. And if you just keep repeating to yourself while you're eating the stuff, eventually your subconscious mind will connect with it. So it's not about beating yourself up and restricting yourself and being really hard. And it's really just honoring where you were and where you're going to go with the diet.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, the third thing is hope. There's some amazing books out there talking about how we change, and the driving force for change is actually hope. And you very basically, when you wake up in the morning, you hope it's going to be a good day. That's what gets you out of bed. If you did not have that kind of sense of hope, and this is where, like, deep suppression is, we're talking about a different thing, but people who, aren't, have those chemical imbalances, we strive for hopeful outcomes. So if you keep that hope inside of you of whatever that is, that's going to help you make those big changes. So when you lose hope, when you feel like there's, like, the outcome is just gone, it's nowhere, then why would you do anything to help that outcome be true? Right? So
Yeah.
getting into that hope of, like, and even, like, maybe changing things up, like, pregnancy is always the ultimate goal, but we have to improve certain things before we even get to pregnancy, right? So a lot of the times it's just fixing the menstrual cycle. Like, you have to have a healthy menstrual cycle. So that is like basic 101. So that could be your first goal. Like, I'm hopeful that I see improvements in my menstrual cycle, in my gut health, in my moods, in my sleeping, because those are all the ingredients that you need to trickle down to your fertility. So you really have to start kind of in the normal common areas of your life. You can't bypass those.
No.
That's what IVF is for. If you're not needing it for a medical or a structural reasons, like genetic issues that we literally can't change, right? And that's what IVF is there for. But for my case, and for a lot of women are getting sucked into this, like, we'll just use IVF. You're literally bypassing all of those important factors
I
that
like that.
add up to a successful pregnancy, a long-term 9-month pregnancy, not just seeing those 2 pink lines, and then even, your postpartum.
Yes, you're right. So if you get back to that time you do the IVF, do you still doing IVF, or with this mindset you have, or you try it naturally?
Uh, well, we were always trying naturally, right? Like, what's the point of using contraception if you're trying for a family? But no, I mean, in between our failed IVF, well, we had 2 failed IVF. So the first one, I knew nothing about being holistic, about being mindful, about diet, lifestyle, nutrition. So we had a year in between the 2 IVFs that we took, and there was a lot of guilt of, like, well, I'm doing all the right things. Like, I've improved so much. Like, surely I don't need this medical assistance, and even into the frozen embryo transfers. But the fact of the matter is that you only are able to do the best of where you are with your knowledge. And you shouldn't be ashamed or frustrated that if you're putting in the holistic and the nutritional parts of your journey, but you're still using medical assistance, you're just using it alongside of each other. And the fact of the matter is that when you're using both of them, it's actually a really good combination to almost speed up your journey. And this could be helpful for people, 35 and older who, maybe, like, don't want to take years and years and years. And I think anyone using medical treatment, should improve their diet and lifestyle. It doesn't matter if you're like, well, I have to use IVF. Great, that's fine that you're going to use IVF, but IVF doesn't improve your egg and sperm quality. IVF doesn't improve your endocrine system. It doesn't improve your hormones. It doesn't do all the things you need for long-term
I agree.
outcome.
Yes.
And unfortunately, our society looks at pregnancy, well, you got pregnant, you're fine, you're healthy. And that's
Mhm.
like further, the furthest thing from the truth is that pregnancy, especially nowadays, is not a sign of health. Just because you can get pregnant doesn't mean you're healthy, and it doesn't mean you're going to have a healthy baby.
Mhm.
And the stats are out, right? Some people think we're 400% sicker than we were in the 70s. You know, there's a 30%
Because
increase of
processed food.
yeah, yeah. IVF babies have a 30% increase of ADHD, autism, food
Mhm.
sensitivities, all these normal and common health issues that our children are dealing with nowadays. And it's not the IVF treatment, it's the mother and father are being pushed into these treatments that aren't healthy enough to pass on healthy genes. And
I like that.
so it's just really, that's like the big thing for me. When I started learning about epigenetics, that was like a light switch off. It's like, it's just not about getting pregnant anymore. I don't want my children to have an autoimmune issue and be pretty sick. Like if I look back when I was late teens, I was ill, and but I just kept pushing and I just kept going. And because I wasn't laying in bed or being hospitalized, it was fine. You just take medication or you just have another coffee or have another Red Bull to get through it, right? And so the writing is very much on the walls, and it's now our job to reverse that, because luckily enough, a lot of it is reversible, but we want to get to it before it's too late,
Mhm.
right? Because
Yes.
there is a cliff. We can't fix everything. Like you get to a certain point, there's no coming back. You can maybe maintain symptoms and write it out, but we want people thriving, not just surviving.
And another thing is surrender. It worked for me because in some points you say, "Oh, enough is enough. I don't want to try anymore."
Hmm.
And then you just try to not go for IVF or any medical treatment because your body is not healthy enough to get pregnant. So you start changing your lifestyle and suddenly you get pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens to so many people because I know recently I've heard the news from someone. They tried for a long time, and then they go take a trip, and suddenly they got pregnant. So you see, because there you have better. You laugh a lot. You have a lot of fun. The sex is better. So everything like combination get you pregnant naturally even. But as you said, mindset is the first thing. You have to believe in yourself. And I have something I say normalizing. When I had a friend, she said, okay, if you see somebody has a baby, it's not that you are faulty, because and that's the normal life, and you are normal. Why you don't get there? So try not to go to that loop that you are not normal and you are faulty, because even pregnancy even happen after 47, 48, right? If your egg quality is good enough, no matter what age you are, you get pregnant and you can have a healthy baby. If your good egg quality is not good enough, even if you are uh, young, your diet is not good, you have a lot of issues in your body, so you may have, even if your baby looks healthy, she may have autoimmunity issues later. So everything depends how you take care of yourself, right? And
Yeah.
how healthy you are to get pregnant.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I couldn't get pregnant at 27 and I had two healthy babies at 35 and 37. So age, yes, does play a factor, but I say it's more because you've had more time for the inflammation and oxidative stress to mess your situation up, right? And unfortunately, 35, 40, 45, 50, sometimes you're just over that cliff of no return. And that's the hard part, right? Like I've watched people's journeys just keep unfolding. And it's like the point where I saw you, I could have probably really helped. But because you let it go for 5 more years, now
Wow.
you're at that point of no return that I can't help you, right? Or there's nothing that I can really, really do to like bring you back in.
Mm.
Like if you've really gone into menopause, right? Like you can't reverse menopause,
No, no.
right?
Of course
Yeah.
not. Yes.
Or if you get thyroid cancer, like, yes, you can heal from thyroid cancer, but there's so many different factors now. Or, it's just so important that just talk, like you say, surrender. You're actually wasting more time going through these medical treatments and pushing things than if you just sat back for 6 months and healed and did nothing. But
Exactly.
because that's not tangible, because people don't feel like they're striving for something, because they're not doing, right? They're like, that's not going to work. It's like, that's exactly what you need right now is to do nothing for 6 months, reevaluate your situation, and make better educated decisions with medical treatment after that. But yeah, most of my clients come to me after several IVFs. And I just like, oh, I wish, because sometimes it's the only IVF they can do. It's either the one that
But
was funded
overload,
or,
right? Overload toxin and
yeah.
lots of hormones. You need to
Mhm.
detoxify, even if you want to go to another road, and they miss
Yeah.
that part,
Yeah. And the doctors are not doing a very good job at telling them to slow down,
unfortunately.
right?
Yes.
They're like, oh, let's just do another one. Get your period back and we'll go again. And I'm just like,
No, no, that's why I didn't feel great about the IVF. I did it 2 rounds. For 2 years, we just did IVF, IUI, different things, and none of them work for us
mhm.
because your body is not happy. You push yourself, but at a time, I see a lot of people even before IVF, they did lots of meditation, yoga, a lot of great things, and totally changed their lifestyle. Yes, that works for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Your body is always trying to heal. And
Yes,
I think the more that I study it, the more I'm like, God, our bodies are actually incredibly powerful to be able to keep going with all the stuff we put on it, right? So the warning signs are out there, and I think people are starting to talk about them more, that it's not normal to be highly stressed out 60, 70 hours of your week. That is not normal. It's not normal to have gut issues or chronic fatigue, or these things are not normal, and it's not age either. Right? Like,
yes,
that has
I
nothing to
totally
do with
believe
it.
in you. As you said, because age is just accumulating these things.
Hmm.
As you say, stress, you have more stress, you have more, you are in more catabolic state. I mean, you lose your body, right? If you don't build it, you go um, and you go somewhere that you cannot stop. You just go,
Yeah.
go, go, and then there is no way. Okay, so you have Instagram account, you have your website, and for my audience, she actually has great things, right? Something great on her website. You can actually go and check it. Tell me about your website, and you are very active in another account. Let me see. Well, TikTok, yes.
Yeah, so I'm finding fertility everywhere, and yeah, active over on TikTok, answering all sorts of questions and just having fun. Instagram as well. Over on my website, there is a free guide. It talks about how ovulation is not confirmation of a healthy ovulation. So there's ways that you can check at home to see if your progesterone levels are in fact high enough to maintain a pregnancy. We talk about the thyroid because we see a lot of thyroid issues within the fertility community and how doctors are not addressing this. So it gives you information about what actual thyroid panel to get run and what levels you should be looking for. And then obviously gut health and how to, that's the gateway, I believe, for most people's issues. It's either gut health or mental and emotional stress that's causing the inflammation and the oxidative stress. So just ways that you can improve your gut health. And then obviously it talks about the simple things, diet, mindset, and supplementation.
Thank you so much, Monica. If you want to add something for my audience, please do. If you want to say a word or a sentence to encourage them, please do.
Yeah, so just remember that your body is capable of doing what you want it to do. You just have to give it the resources, right? You have to give it a nourishment and time and opportunity to do these things. And remember, you're probably looking at decades of trauma and emotional health and toxins and the wrong diet. So luckily, it's not going to take you decades to reverse that, but just remember to give yourself time and be graceful.
Thank you so much, Monica.
Thank you.
Please subscribe to Panta Calhoun Transition channel and order my book Naturally Conceive through Amazon. Thank you for watching.